Welcome to Unshakeable with Human Design, the show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs use human design to shift from hustle to flow without sacrificing results. Come here to become an unshakable human and build an unshakable business according to your human design. I'm your host, Nicole. Hey everyone, welcome to Unshakeable with Human Design. I'm your host, Nicole. I got a question inside the Human Design Lab recently where I thought this was a great question. I thought this was something that comes up a lot, and I wanted to bring up the distinction so that you understand how this energy works, because we talk about conditioning a lot. We talk about energetic interaction between people, and the question that came up was, can you only be conditioned by others if you're in person? Or the other way that people have asked that is, can you be conditioned by others virtually? So can I be conditioned by a coach that I'm working with virtually? Can I be conditioned by somebody virtually? Like if I have a virtual team, do we have the same energetic dynamic that we would have if we were in person? And I thought this was a great question. This comes up quite a bit when I'm working with people who have teams and we're looking at their team dynamics. And I wanted to talk about the differences between the two and how it all shakes out energetically. Before we start, this question did come from someone inside the Human Design Lab, which is our membership community. The membership is this wonderful community, tons of lessons on how to experiment with your design. That's really what it's built around. This whole concept of human design is an experiment. It's not just a body of knowledge. It goes way beyond that. And this membership is totally built around the promise and the mission of getting you into action behind your design, using it, playing with it, really experimenting with it, and then taking those experiments, sharing them so you can get feedback and understand yourself and others more deeply. So it's a really beautiful community. I love what's happening in there. I'm very proud of what we've created. If you want to go into your human design further, if you haven't booked a reading yet, you can book a reading with me. Go to nicolelano.me/podcast links. You can book a reading with me there. The membership is a great thing to do either before a reading and start to get your feet wet with it, or after a reading for support. If you got in a reading and you're like, okay, that was great information, but now what do I do? That is exactly what the lab was created for, is to get people into action and really embodying their human design and not just knowing and thinking about it. So we have that. We also have a free guide for you. If you have thought about starting a podcast, or if you have a podcast and it hasn't quite worked for you, you either haven't made money from the podcast or it's just not feeling like a sustainable, enjoyable practice for you, then your human design may be at work. And if you haven't started a podcast yet and you're thinking about it and it's something that's on your heart, building your podcast by design from the start is definitely something that I would recommend. So we created a free guide for you. If you go to nicolelano.me/podcast by design, you can download that free guide. We'll link all of this up in the show notes for you. And we broke it down by each human design type. That's how we organize this guide. It's for each human design type. What's the best way for you to start crafting your show? So check that out and let me know what you think about it. Give me your feedback. I would love to know if that guide helped you in starting to look at your show a little bit differently, or your potential show. So let's dive into this question. Can you only be conditioned by others in person, or can you be conditioned by others virtually? So the short answer is, when we talk traditionally in human design about conditioning, we are talking about being in aura with people. So if we're talking about someone has a defined G center and you have an undefined G center, you are going to be conditioned by them more when they are in your aura. Now, that is because that's something that's happening without anyone saying anything. That's the difference. When you're in aura with someone, and that's really being in the same room with them, being physically in the same place with them, you are in aura. Now that's where you don't have to say anything, you don't have to do anything, you're just feeling it. That's when you walk into a party and you're like, I do not like the vibe in here. I don't know why, I just don't feel comfortable around that person. I feel like I'm under pressure around this person. I feel like they are pushing me to be this way. And other people in the room might be like, I don't feel that at all. I don't understand where you're coming from. I didn't get that at all from them. It's the vibe under the vibe. It's the energy underneath the interaction that's happening. That's what happens physically. Now, that does not mean that virtually someone cannot condition you. It's just happening differently. Now, when I work with teams and we're talking about the design impact on teams, we do focus on conditioning because we're looking at power dynamics. We're looking at the way that people interact. And I can condition somebody, I can condition a client. I try very hard not to do that and to be aware of what conditioning could be present because I coach by human design. But if I didn't know any of this, or if I were working with a team member, or if I were working in a company where I had a virtual team, my views are very much in alignment with my life. And we see this a lot. So a good example could be we're conditioned all the time virtually. We're conditioned by what we read. Tony Robbins has conditioned most of the world. Now, some of them, he spoke exactly to a part of them that needed to wake up. So with his like uber ego sort of way about him, which is, go after what you want, no excuses, move forward at all costs. That's very authentic to him. He has a defined ego. That is an authentic energy for him. Willpower is something that is very much in tune with who he is. That is what he's meant to do and be here. It's authentic for him to talk about it. But when some people receive that, it's speaking to the not self in them. The open ego is receiving that message, and that not self of the open ego says, you got to prove yourself. You got to work harder. You got to prove what you're worth. You aren't worthy until you do something. So that open ego receives that message, and it is conditioned because it is speaking directly to it. It's triggering. It's hitting the exact right chord that's going to pull that open ego person to go to UPW, to go and sign up for Date with Destiny. Because it says, I need that. I just need to be more willful. This is the guy to teach me. Right? This is what they say when they say we sell to the not self. I think we're seeing a shift now of people trying not to do that. People have problems, but are they legitimate problems for them? Or are they sometimes problems that they're not really meant to deal with by fixing them, by being that thing? So can you be conditioned virtually? Yes, but you're conditioned more by the concept than by the energetic force. But how it works energetically is someone who has power in a place where you have openness. You will receive that transmission. It is just not meant to move you. It's not meant to move you into action because that's not right for you. Now, in a perfect world, what would happen is Tony would say, you've got to be willful, you've got to be strong, you've got to be committed, you've got to go after what you want, set the goal, go after it, no excuses. And the open ego person who, I'm just going to use generator as an example, the generator receives that, is responding to that message. They feel the sacral no, or they wait out the emotional wave. And at the moment they hear it, they're trying to figure out what they feel. So they wait. They wait out that emotional wave. And over time, it becomes more and more true to them that that message really isn't for them. I hear the truth in that message for some, but that just doesn't feel right for me. I'm going to pass. That is the perfect world scenario. But more often what happens is the open ego generator hears that and they hear that message. They say, you've got to be decisive. You've got to be committed. You've got to go after it. And they say, okay, exactly. I've been feeling that I'm not committed enough. And I've been feeling like I don't deserve what I want. This is what will get me there. So they say yes, and they say yes spontaneously. They do not wait out their wave. They do it because that's the not self pulling them away. That's the conditioning, right? So short answer is yes, you can be conditioned by people virtually. It just happens differently. You're conditioned by the concept. What you will feel is when you are in aura with someone, you'll just feel different when they're around. And you'll start to receive that energy, and you'll either start to exhibit it yourself, which is an interesting phenomenon. This is what happens to open emotional people. So you're open emotionally, and then I walk in the room with my defined solar plexus, and I'm in a bad mood. And I'm frustrated because I'm a manifesting generator. I'm frustrated and I'm emotional and I've got anxiety. And you feel all of it. And you don't know it's me. You just start feeling anxious and frustrated and emotional and pissed off. And you are 10 times worse than me because you're open, so you magnify it, you amplify it. That's how this works. And the way that you work with it is you decondition. You decondition yourself. And this is what we work on in the lab. It's deconditioning, but where we really crank up deconditioning, where we accelerate your deconditioning journey, is in the VIP tier of the Human Design Lab, where you actually get to work with me, where I give you my tools, my EFT tapping, breathwork, and other nervous system regulation tools so that you're able to discern what is your energy and what isn't yours. And we deep dive into this stuff, and you actually get to interact with me on a deeper level. You can go to nicolelano.me/lab to check that out. You can see the VIP and the regular option there. If you can't afford the VIP, you could start out with the regular and upgrade to that. We have a lot of people who are on that track now where they're getting their feet wet with the regular, and they're like, I know that the next step for me is going into the VIP, because they want to go to that deeper level, because this is so profound. If you start to understand what messages you're receiving that are not meant for you, what people are coming in and influencing you energetically, if you can know that, this is how you become unshakable, people. This is the key. I know what's good for me and I know what's not. I know what's authentic for me and I know what's not. And I show up only as what is authentic for me. And when I do, people respond. And when I do, I get more than what I want. I get what I'm meant for. That's the power of this. So I hope you liked this episode. I hope this helped answer a question maybe that was on your mind or that you've been kicking around for a bit. I hope this cleared up the difference between the two and how this works. If you have a team or you want to understand the energy dynamics in your family and how you're physically affecting each other, my son has an open emotional center. Understanding how I affect my son and how I affect my husband. My husband is so open. Understanding how we affect each other has been incredibly helpful, insightful, and we understand how to take care of ourselves and take care of each other better, which is really priceless. I do relationship readings as well. If you want to check that out, all of that stuff is on my website, or go to nicolelano.me/podcast links, and you get all the links to all the things that we've got going on. So check that out. If you love this episode, please share it with your friends, share it on Instagram, tag me. I'm at Nicole Lano Official. Please subscribe to the show so you don't miss any of the episodes that we have coming up. There are so many great topics that we have coming up for you. Hope that you stick around and you subscribe. And thank you for being here. Thank you for making it to the end of this episode. Remember, everyone, if you want to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. And I hope that this episode helped you, and I hope that you tune in next time so we can continue helping you on that journey to becoming unshakable with human design. We'll see you then. If you love this episode and you're a fan of the show, please show us the love on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the show, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with other entrepreneurs on their human design journey, join our free Facebook community, Human Design for Entrepreneurs. Go to nicolelano.me/podcast links to join the group, book a human design reading with me, or access our free human design resources. We'll see you there.